So I've had the Switch OLED for a couple of days now, which isn't enough time to give you any sort of review on the unit, but it is fantastic. But what I know I can do is give you a comparison of all the other stuff that comes in the box. So here it is. A bit of a long video, but hopefully some of you will find benefit from it. Let's do this. So I will be doing a proper comparison between the new OLED Switch and the original current / first version of the Switch models, but I thought that I do need a bit more time to just go through and spend some time with the new Switch, so I thought it will probably be better to just compare the random, well, not necessarily random, but the other bits of tech you get with the new consoles. So first up, let's look at the dock. So aside from the obvious with one being white and the other one being black, there are a number of differences between both versions of the dock. So if we start off with the front, so right off the bat, the Nintendo Switch logo is significantly different across both versions of the dock. So on the OLED dock, it is embossed and it is significantly smaller than the one on the OG dock. To be honest, I think I do prefer the embossing, as I was a bit concerned that over time this logo might scratch or fade away or peel away. But I mean, I do have a few scratches on the OG dock, but the actual logo itself has stood the test of time, so I guess that isn't really a massive concern to me anymore. Another difference is that this bit, so the perimeter, it is actually indented, so that this front plate is like raised up by a couple of millimeters, if that. So that is a difference. Also, the light here on the OG dock comes further across the front of the dock than it does here. So again, where it is raised, the light is cut off. So that is something to mention. Also, just looking at the shape of the docks, so the OLED dock is a lot more curved at the top than the OG dock, and I think I do prefer the more curved look, but it is an insignificant change. So yeah, I think it was done more for aesthetic than anything else. So now looking at the sides that contain the USB ports. So again, 2 USB ports, not much has changed. So flipping to the opposite side now, again, not much has really changed, apart from aesthetic differences rather between the two docks. And if we look at the top of the docks, so not sure if you can make it out, but there is significantly more room on the OLED dock than there is on the OG dock, and I guess that was a design change done to try to mitigate any risk of the screen being scratched from the removal and insert of the console into the dock. So that is a welcome change, but I do think it does mean that the console will be more prone to rocking back and forth in the dock. So that is something to consider. Another thing is that the OLED dock is glossy on the inside, whereas on the OG dock the material used on the inside is quite similar to the material used on the outside. So though the OG dock was more prone to scratching your Switch screen slash the outer casing of the console. The new dock is probably just more prone to scratching on the inside. Not sure why that was a decision done. I would have probably stuck with the same material as the outside of the dock, even if it had to be black, but it is what we have now. So that is something to consider, that over time the inside of this dock might start to show signs of scratches and stuff, and it probably will attract a lot more dust than the OG dock. So if we now flip the docks over onto their front, sorry, they're on their front, but we're looking at their backs. So on the original dock, you can lift it up and you have a HDMI out, a USB port, and the AC adapter port. But with the new dock, this actually completely removes. It is significantly harder to remove than the OG dock, and apparently this design change for this, for it being removable as opposed to it like being a door like on the OG dock, was because Nintendo did research and they found out that a lot of people were just leaving this open or removing it completely. I think that's a bit strange, but I mean, they did the research. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments if this is something you guys do leave open or remove. It would be interesting to know. Aside from that, so we do have a LAN port now, which takes precedence over the USB port in the OG dock, and then there are some design differences on the inside that are pretty minor. Overall, both docks, though significantly different, do still retain a lot of the same characteristics, if you will. But one thing that is, I feel, a huge step backwards on the new dock compared to the OG dock is the base. So I've got a bit of blue tack on here, ignore that, I stuck it down. But with the old dock, they had 4 rubber feet and they've moved to a single bit of plastic. I wouldn't call it rubber. It does feel like rubber, but it's nowhere near as grippy as the OG dock. To demonstrate that, I'll literally, so I can easily move this back and forth, but with this there is significantly more resistance. So yeah, that is my comparison look at the docks. If I had to pick a winner between the two, my preference, I think overall I do prefer the newer dock, for the one reason that you are less likely to scratch the actual console with the newer dock compared to the old dock. But in terms of functionality, LAN port aside, both docks are essentially the same, and one doesn't really give any significant performance or any performance variation between them. So yeah. Okay, so now let's compare the JoyCon grips. So we have the OG JoyCon grip at the bottom and the OLED JoyCon grip at the top. So mine, well, I guess not an impression, but more so now a review of the old JoyCon grip. So I use this quite a lot. Granted, it's definitely nowhere near as comfortable as a traditional gamepad, and nowhere near as comfortable as the Pro controller, but it did come with the console, and as it has or does come with the console, I do feel like I should use it. I mean, overall, it served me really well. I enjoy playing games on it. Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain about it. It does do what it is built to do. My only thing that, when comparing it to the newer version, is it does feel really cheap in comparison to the new one. Now, I'm not sure if they are actually using different materials, but I just always found that it was a bit creaky and felt quite plasticky. And don't get me wrong, the new one does still feel plasticky, but I do feel like the build quality is significantly better, and I do think they are using slightly better materials on this version. Additionally, like the docks, the OLED JoyCon Grip does have its logo embossed rather than printed like on the OG. Again, I do think that this will stand the test of time longer, and I do have a few scratches on the matte surface overall, including logo, but the shinier bits seem to be fine, which is the bit that, again, I was more concerned of getting scratches and fading away. But overall, again, like the docks, functionally they are the same, and yeah, I mean, I will most likely be using this. However, I do think I should maybe pick up a Pro controller, but we shall see. But again, yeah, I mean, very minor differences across both versions, and nothing really to write home about, aside from I do think that the materials are slightly better on the newer version compared to this version. So now let's look at the JoyCon straps. So first I'm taking these out, pop that on the floor, and just on the face of it, the color is slightly different. So I think the OLED JoyCon straps are slightly lighter, but I also think they're less curved at the top, but I'm not sure if that's my eyes just playing tricks on me. But oh, actually now it looks more curved, so okay, it might be my eyes playing tricks on me, but the new straps are lighter. Again, there's no material differences here, so yeah, the main difference is that the newer strap comes in this this patterned material, as opposed to just being a solid black on the OG ones. I think the OG ones feel nicer on the skin. These have a bit more, well, they feel a bit more rough really, though I do think this will serve you better long term. I don't know, it just feels more grippy, so I don't know. I mean, I've never had an issue with these flying off, so, but that is a difference I can feel, and I feel like I should share that. Yeah, I mean, aside from that, ooh, this one's a bit stuck. Oh no, it's not. So I would say, yeah, that they feel more or less the same. The only difference is that the OLED ones are slightly lighter, and they have a pattern bit on the bits that go around your arms. Aside from that, again, functionally the same. Right, so now let's look at the Joy-Cons. So over here we have the original Joy-Cons. These were the ones that I got with my launch day Switch. So I got these on launch day. Again, one of these has JoyCon drift. I think it is this one here that has the drift issue. But yeah, moving on. So these we got last Christmas, I believe, or this April, just gone, can't really remember. But essentially my girlfriend's been playing a whole bunch of Animal Crossing, and these were just drifting on her, so we got these. Obviously she picked them, I didn't. But what I did really like about these is overall they feel more grippy. So the material used on these Joy-Cons are far more grippy than these, and as a result they are less shiny, which I do prefer. So these got shiny like after time, just from residue from your skin depositing on the actual Joy-Cons. But with these being like a type of matte finish, they aren't anywhere near as shiny, or get anywhere near as shiny as these ones. Now on the new ones, so in terms of material, they kind of sit in between the old and, well, I guess these are still technically old Joy-Cons, but the material kind of sits between the two. I did go white. I'm quite monochrome in my decisions, so I did go for the white look. I didn't really want to go for the blue and red version, but I am conscious that that will probably mean that these will start showing signs of dirt and stuff like that a lot quicker than either of these two. Again, in terms of looks and stuff, the only difference are the color. Nintendo has come out and said that they've improved Joy-Con reliability with the newer versions of Joy-Cons. So these Joy-Cons should, from Nintendo anyway, be more reliable in terms of drift than my OG Joy-Cons. Whether or not these Joy-Cons are more reliable than these, we'll have to wait and see. But Nintendo have come out and said that they are improving the Joy-Cons with each iteration. So these should be essentially, in theory, the best Joy-Cons. But yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to say. They're both Joy-Cons. In terms of pressing buttons, buttons do feel the same. Joy-Cons feel the same. I think these are a bit louder than these, but I think that is probably just due to them being newer and these being used quite regularly. Yeah, so that is the comparison of everything that you get with a Switch aside from the main console. But if you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment and subscribe, as I will be posting a video shortly on my actual thoughts on the new console, and then doing a proper in-depth comparison between the old and the new Switch in roughly a week or two's time, when I've had enough time to sink my teeth into the OLED Switch. But yeah, thank you all for watching and happy gaming.